Hello Year 11, this is a revision quick tip for varying your sentences. A lot of people think that varying their sentences means that they have to put in loads of questions and very complicated grammar and so on. You don't actually have to do that. It's just making sure that your sentences aren't all the same length and don't always start in the same way. Those are the two most frequent errors, that they're all the same length, either all short or all long actually, that often happens, or they're all starting with I, or then, or the. So here are a few tips to check with your own writing to make sure that doesn't happen. I'm going to use some in front of you, and I'm going to quickly show you a resource where you could freeze the frame and take some notes on different sentence starters. So I'm going to write a simple sentence. Now this technique can be used for either paper, for any type of creative writing task. Okay, so I've got the rain fell heavily on the lonely farmhouse. This is just because with my year 9s we were writing a story and the picture was some bad weather with a lonely farmhouse. The first way you could change that is you could start it with the verb. So, falling heavily, the rain soaked the lonely farmhouse. Yeah, so falling heavily, the rain soaked the lonely farmhouse. Same sentence, different opening. You could start it with the adverb. The adverb is heavily. Heavily, the rain fell onto the lonely farmhouse. You could start it with the object, the lonely farmhouse. So, the lonely farmhouse was soaked by the heavy rain. So you can see there, I haven't done anything really fancy. All I've done is I've said, right, starting with this bit, the rain fell heavily. Maybe I'll try starting it with the verb, falling heavily, the rain soaked the lonely farmhouse. Then maybe start it with the adverb, heavily, the rain fell onto the lonely farmhouse. Maybe start it with the object, the lonely farmhouse was soaked by the heavy rain. Yeah? So you can see how easy it is just to switch around your openings of your sentences. If you do a proofread, and I would always advise you to write about a side and a half to 2 sides to allow yourself time for a proper proofread, because a side and a half to 2 sides, the examiner can tell the quality of your writing, you've done enough, and then your job is to make it high quality. If you were starting every sentence with the, you could go through and you could just tweak every sentence to improve the start of it. So that's one of my tips. The other one is having a rhythm to your writing. Now in terms of the length of your sentence, you can do short, long. Really good for something that grabs the reader's attention. So, boom. The sound of endless cannon roaring into the night. We shivered, so full of dread and fear. So this is just, I've been doing another piece to do with exposure, the poem, and a few people have been writing about kind of the First World War. So you've got boom, the sound of endless cannon roaring into the night. We shivered, so full of dread and fear. Short sentence, longer. It really kind of makes the audience jump, and then you can explain the feelings. Or you could go the other way. So you could set the scene with 2 longer sentences and then insert a shorter one. So these are good for openings and endings. So, in fact, I'm going to use one of the top bits here. I'm going to say endlessly. Endlessly roaring into the night, the cannon fired at the enemy. I'm not going to say filled with dread and fear because I think that's too much like this. So I'm going to keep we shivered, our minds full of dread and fear. So there you've got the atmosphere, 2 long sentences, long sentence, and then suddenly, boom. And then you could actually do a bit of tip-top, cut to a new paragraph and say, a jagged crater where once our dug out sheltered us. So what you've done there is, this will be a bit of narrative writing, you've gone long, short, boom. It kind of like, you've got atmosphere. It's a good one for scary stories. It's a good one for anything where you want to suddenly shock someone, make them jump and get a bit dramatic. Long, setting the scene, then short. So those are 2 tips there. So play around with how you start the sentence. Do you start it with subject, verb, adverb, object? Yeah? And for revision, people are always saying, how do I revise? Get a sentence like that and try to start it with the different words. Yeah? And just do that again and again till it becomes second nature. Leave enough time for revision. Second one, you can either do short sentence, long, or long, short. Yeah? Don't do it again and again and again. Use it once or twice in your whole piece, but it's a useful way. The other thing I want to show to you is this worksheet, which you may have seen if you are at Featherstone High School. These are it's a nice range of different ways of varying your sentences without relying on, I'm going to shove in a list and a rhetorical question and it's going to look all fake. These sound natural. Remember, your number 1 priority should be that it is clear, that what you write is clear, that it makes sense, and that it sounds right, it matches your purpose and audience. So you don't want something artificial like questions. So if you want to pause this for a little while and maybe look at these and take some notes, these are some ideas that you can use when you're practicing your creative writing, and you do your revision through practicing, through getting a question, a task off the website, a task off your teacher, doing it, looking at the mark scheme, taking it back to your teacher, taking it back to your friends and thinking, is it good enough? How could I make it better? It is a skills-based subject. You can't learn loads of things off by heart. You just have to practice. And practicing with this in front of you might well help you on that varying your sentence length. Thank you very much, Year 11. Don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to check Firefly for more videos. I put them up every week or 2, and I will hopefully have the whole of the exam paper covered by the end of this half term. Good luck with your revision.